my sisters, and power to all the brothers out there too. Thank you for the power that you bring. In the last 12 months or so, women have become the most powerful force in America. Born out of agitation. Women's marches have evolved from demonstration to determination. And we as women are feeling our power in a brand new way. It's energizing, it's exciting. It's the women's wave, I call it the pink power. We're rising up, we're stepping up, we're speaking up, and we're telling our stories, we're asserting our roles as leaders and valued members of our communities. It is a real natural progression, you know, because women are doers. Margaret Thatcher reminded us of that when she said, if you want something said, you ask a man. But if you want something done, ask a woman. A woman's place is in every place, in every office, in every house, from our house to the courthouse, to the State House, and yes, to the White House too.
So good morning, everybody. My name is Stefania Arteaga. I am an organizer with Comunidad Colectiva. Woo! As I was getting ready to speak today, I did something many women of color do. I questioned myself, and I asked, which part of me am I going to leave behind to make people comfortable? And I said, no, not today. That is not going to be the case. I genuinely want to have an open and free conversation on what it looks to have a women's movement that does not just involve reproductive rights, does not just involve wage pay gaps, but revolves around issues that affect us, women of color, trans femmes, gender non-conforming. Way too often we're left out of these conversations, and that is not okay.
While our focus is on advocating for Black women and girls, we know that we'll all do better. We will all do better if we stand together. Today's politics, today's culture is all about divide and conquer. Really, our differences should not divide us, but having diverse perspectives should make us stronger. Wouldn't it be great if we could move out of our individual silos and care about the lives of people who don't look like us, who don't speak like us, who don't worship like us? Wouldn't it be nice to have a few hours where we can come together and focus on what we have in common and not what separates us?
Girls rock! Girls matter! Say with me, y'all! Girls matter! Girls rock! Girls matter! Girls!
I'll be very proud of. Across the country, women are starting on average 850 new businesses every day. Last year, American Express ranked Charlotte the #1 city in America for female-owned business growth. Charlotte region has seen women-owned businesses grow by over 240% in the past 15 years. And that's great. Those are things to celebrate, but those statistics don't tell the full story. Because the gender parity in this country in the workplace is not closing. It's closing at a much slower pace than it needs to be. And in particular, the fact is that women of color do not fare nearly as well as white women in enjoying these successes, even if they're small. All of the women that join all women that join large organizations, only 18% of white women ever make it to the C-suite. Only 3% of women of color make it. That's an astounding 80% drop for women of color. So why is that important? Because women are being left behind, and women of color are being left behind at a far greater rate.
I personally believe that the liberation of one group cannot be at the expense of another group. In order for us to be liberated, we must interrogate how Charlotte defines women in this march, in the International Women's Day, these events must do more than tokenize and give appearances of unity and diversity. It cannot elevate the only cisgender hetero women, but leave out trans folks, black folks, brown folks, the ones that will push the needle rather than sit at the table for their own professional agendas. These events cannot be for one day, as Maida said, and then we shy away from the work that needs to happen year-round. The work that needs to happen is gonna make us uncomfortable. So will you be there for the work beyond today? Will you comfort and stand with mothers whose child has been mysteriously killed in the Mecklenburg County Jail this summer? Or will you not show up to these marches because you don't know the whole story and the event is too aggressive? Will you support Southeast Asian Black and Brown youth who live on the east and west side of Charlotte, who grow up with far less than your own children, maybe grew up the way you did? Or will you send your children to alternative schools and claim that you can only worry about your family unit?
Early this morning, I stood in front of the mirror, anxiously trying to decide if I was going to shave the budding hairs around my lips and along my chin. I stood apprehensively at my closet, wondering what outfit was going to scream cunt. I nervously looked down at my body and wondered if I should pad my bra and make my boobs look bigger, and if I was going to painfully tuck my penis inside my cheeks to ensure my leggings laid down smooth. I restlessly paced in front of my sister's room, wondering if I should wake her up and beg her to beat my face so that foundation, highlighter, mascara, and lipstick would cover my dysphoria. And after all that, I still had no idea what I was going to do with my hair. I spent the majority of this morning wondering what it was going to take to feel validated at a march where women and femmes like me are tokenized, exploited, discarded, vilified, criminalized, and then quickly disposed of. So today, I uplift the Black trans woman, the Black trans non-binary, and the Black trans femmes in our community.
Our school systems are failing our queer and trans young people. Trans and queer young people are going through their lives at school and not having their names and pronouns recognized, who are refused access to inclusive facilities aligned with their gender identity, where principals, administrators, and legislators of the state are telling us what to do with our bodies. No more. When police officers in school are telling kids that they belong in prison because of their gender expression based on their own bias, no more. LGBTQ youth report being twice as likely to receive victimization in school, to be experiencing discrimination in school. And that is up to you as educators, as adults raising children, as school counselors, as mental health professionals. It takes all of us to come together and stay educated. All of these forces playing a role in the lives of our young people. Young people are reporting that educators and staff are the ones who are perpetuating anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ messaging in the classroom, and nobody is stopping it. There is power in having out educators, and our staff and educators are terrified of losing their jobs when they come out in school. No more. I make a demand of educators in the classroom to bring inclusive curriculum and to tell the stories of all of our children in school. I make a demand of adults raising children, stop kicking your kids out when they come out of their whole authentic selves.
I have worked hard as a professor in the College of Education to achieve this dream. But some people in North Carolina have given up on this dream. We ranked 37th in the nation in teacher pay. Woo. And I think that the impact, the lack of educational opportunity for our children, and the policy that it creates is unacceptable. This dream required me to take steps out of my comfort zone. I'm not a politician. This is the first time I've run for anything. Yet, I knew the way to start affecting change for the future of our teachers was to get involved with elected office and help make the decisions that impact our teachers. And now I'm in an elected office. I'm in there, and I can impact teachers and address racial and gender disparity and income inequality and affordable housing and greenways and parks and a clean environment and better health outcomes and reducing gun violence.
Women feel empowered, and it's continued to spread like wildfire. In India, 5 million women stood next to each other to create the largest human chain in history. They were protesting sexual abuse and violence. Those women, like all of you, learned that we are powerful, we are relentless, and that we don't need to be invited to the table to take a seat at the table. And if you doubt yourself and ask, what can I do? I'm just one woman. Remember that it was a woman that initiated the American Equal Rights Association. It was a woman that helped find freedom through the Underground Railroad for many slaves. It was a frail-looking, humble woman who went among the untouchables in the streets of India to treat those with leprosy. And who do you think refused to give up her seat in Boston, Alabama?